A beehive deprived of its queen does not feel grief. It is conscious of deprivation. It buzzes. Over the people and over Geneva hung a murmur compounded of all the muffled noises a subdued crowd uses to express its component emotions. Sighs and gritted teeth, shuffled feet, grunts and coughs of sorrow or anger, and laughter filled the cup of Geneva's valley, trembled over the ice-blue water, and thrust against the mountains. Geneva is white, clean, modern, yet vaguely derivative of the past, built to a grandly conceived overall plan which was scamped in the end because of practical difficulties, but not where it would matter to anyone confining himself to the main streets and districts. It is a graceful, happy city. It has traditions, carefully cherished, extending back to the old Swiss city, which was partly destroyed in the invasion. That city is gone now, utterly supplanted. There are those who remember that the invaders had rebuilt it before they were driven out during the liberation. But, however that may be, Weyermann had the new Geneva built upon it, and the old traditions furnish a satisfactory foundation for the new reality. A human city. In the government buildings, there was complete silence. The civil service clerical personnel were out in the crowd. Only a few offices were in use. Private offices, where men were sitting alone. In one of those offices, the man who would take Weyermann's place as administrator of the human universe looked at his desk clock, saw that soon he would have to leave for the waiting tomb on its promontory overlooking the lake, and stood up. He was a young man, in his middle 30s, and he had an air of unerring efficiency about him. He had a number of cultivated mannerisms and personality traits to disguise the air in public, or at least misdirect the eye away from its true nature. But he was not yet practiced enough to maintain this cloak when alone. He went to the window and looked out. The cortege was 3/4 of the way along the esplanade, and would be at the tomb shortly. Weyermann's heir had perhaps 5 minutes before he had to go downstairs to his car and be driven to the scene of the interment. The young man looked from the cortege to the pinpoint sparkle of the chalet and thought, "Only he could have gotten away with that. I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing, and I know what has to be done to lead people. I'm aware of my responsibilities, and I think I'm in the right. He was an amateur. He never worked his way up like I've had to. He would have lost out the first time he tried to play intradepartmental politics. Lost out and gone to oblivion. But he began at the top. He couldn't have known as much about political mechanics as I do. I or a dozen other men in the other departments around here. But if I tried to govern from up in that eyrie, I'd be a tyrant with delusions of grandeur. They'd stone me to death. It's not ability. He made mistakes, plenty of them. They gave him time to correct them, where they wouldn't have waited on anyone else. It's not popularity. There's always a few who'll love you. He had no more of those than usual. But they depended on him, and he excited them, just driving by, wooden-faced, in the back of that car of his. They shouted themselves hoarse. The women fainted left and right in the crowds. But he wasn't one of them. They couldn't love him. It's not fear. I thought it might be, until I saw how quietly he'd blocked the secret police chief of his. And the chief died and wasn't replaced by anyone much, and the people's attitude never changed. It's not clever advisers. The Secretary of State, who framed the new Constitution for him, didn't live long enough to see how the old checks and balances wouldn't work after a quarter century of invader indoctrination. Weyermann revised it all, and re-revised it, until it's a model of efficiency now. No, it was something in him, and I don't suppose I'll ever have it. He learned something, somewhere, somehow. He learned it in his bones. I'll be the best they've got, but they'll know I'm no Weyermann. Mine will be the earth to shepherd, and everything that's in it. But I'll never be a man, my son, not like he was. The young professional looked back down at the cortege. Walking behind the gun carrier were Weyermann's official heirs, the cabinet members, the leaders of Congress, the bureau chiefs. The young professional smiled. They, too, had their plans, but they had all missed an